Today we're going to do some exploratory patching in Pigments. By exploratory, I just mean that I don't have an end result in mind. Just gonna play around with stuff and try to save a couple presets that I can use later. I want to make something that's playable so I could just kind of turn it on and play with it when I need to come up with, a melody or something. It's nice to have something similar to what you're looking for sound-wise, but also that's just fun to play. It also shouldn't be too complicated, and it should have some amount of expression, just because what makes things fun and inspiring to me, at least. I do want to apologize for the sound quality coming out of my DAW in this video. I'm still working on my video recording setup, and I don't know, they sound really crappy right now for some reason, so I'll have to figure it out, but I'm probably just going to put this video out anyway. We're going to start off just with a new preset, just init the patch. And I'm going to switch it to analog, and it should just be a sine wave right now. Yeah. All right. So I think just to start off with, I just want to make a basic lead. I recently bought Pigments, and I don't have kind of basic sound presets in here, so it's always nice to have a nice buzzy saw lead that you can just use as a starting point for things. I said no end result in mind. This isn't the end. This is just the first patch I'm going to make, and then I'm going to build some other things on top of this. So I didn't lie, I swear. So first thing, gonna give this 3 voices a unison just to make it a little bit thicker. I'm going to turn the detune down to about 1%. That just make it a little bit more defined. And then I'm going to turn the cutoff down to around 3200. All right. And I'm going to make this a 12 dB low pass. So we still get some more of the high end. All right. That's a little bit bland, so we'll give it an envelope. Let's see. Give it 0 attack, about 200 milliseconds of delay, somewhere around there. Okay. And then we're going to modulate the cutoff. Let's start maybe around 30%. That's fine. Maybe a little bit aggressive. I'll turn that down a little bit. All right. Let's see. Let's make it a little bit smoother. We can make it legato. Gives us a couple options for how we want to play it. And then I always like a little bit of glide on these sorts of legato lead patches. Yeah. Not bad. All right. And let's just give this a little bit of reverb. We're on there. Okay. Still a little bland, so let's add the most normal thing you could ever add to a lead sound. We're going to put some vibrato on the mod wheel. So I'm going to modulate this first just so we can listen to it. So I'm going to use LFO1. Just going to modulate this all the way up. And like a nice fast one. It's around 5.5 hertz. And then if we want to map this to the mod wheel, we just go to sidechain, hit up mod wheel, drag that to 100, and go to the keyboard so you can see what I'm doing. So I always like to have these sort of extreme settings for mod wheel stuff, because you don't have to turn the mod wheel very far. You're not obligated to turn it to the top every time you want to do vibrato. So turn it up a little bit if you just want a little bit, but if you want to go crazy, you still have that option. And there's one more thing I like to do. If my patch doesn't have velocity, I actually do another vibrato on it. In Pigments, as far as I know, you have to use a separate LFO for this, but I'm going to map this to Aftertouch on my keyboard because it makes it really fun to play. It's very intuitive for me, at least. So I don't have to reach all the way over there. I just keep my fingers on the keys. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm just going to save this. I'm just going to call it basic lead. I'm just going to set it to the type lead. Solo lead. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, whatever. We can fill this in later. It's not fun for anybody to watch. So that's a good first patch. I do want to make something a little bit softer as the second patch. So we're just going to keep modifying this from here. I'm actually going to make it a sine wave. And we're going to use FM to add some harmonics to the sine wave. So I'll change oscillator 3 to a sine wave. You can see it's already set here. I'm going to turn off FM on oscillator 2 just because we might use it later. And I'll turn up the FM knob and you can hear what it does. So I think I'm actually just going to put an envelope on this FM knob. I want to make it a little bit longer to start up. Maybe 150 milliseconds. And then maybe a 5-second decay curve. Really long. All right, and then we're gonna modulate this up about halfway. Maybe mess with the decay curve a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm gonna change the amp envelope a little bit, just kind of slow the attack there to around 15 milliseconds. And we'll let it ring out a little bit longer. Put that around 2.5 seconds. May increase. There we go. Let's put the release up on the FM envelope as well. Just make it about the same as the decay. Okay. All right, so that's still a little bit harsh, but I like the way it sounds. So I'm actually going to modulate this envelope with the velocity. So now it's soft. So if I hit the key harder, I get that bigger sound. Now we see why I only do the Aftertouch vibrato when I don't have velocity set, because it's really easy to trigger it. So I'm actually going to get rid of that one for this patch. I'm actually going to turn off legato for this one. Okay, I really like the way that sounds. This reminds me of a preset in Diva called Divanity. I'm going to save this. I'm going to call it Pigmanity. And it is, I don't know, keys. No, I don't know, classic synth keys, whatever. All right, I really like this one. Like I was saying, this is just fun to play. All right, so there's two. The last thing I'm going to do is actually turn this into an MPE patch. I have a Linstrument, and I like to make patches for that too, because it is also fun to play. All right, so make sure MPE is turned on. You can't really see that, but that's okay. MPE is in fact turned on. Pitch bend is working. All right, so the first thing I'm probably going to do is add some distortion to this. Go over to overdrive. I like to put this on the poly aftertouch because it just feels natural to get a bit of drive as you push down on a key, especially on this thing. You know, it feels good with aftertouch too, but I feel like it really on the instrument, I don't know, something about the way it feels under your fingers makes it feel like it should be driven when you do that. Okay. That is a bit aggressive. So I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to change the curve for aftertouch pretty significantly. So I'm going to have to push it pretty hard to get the distortion, but the option's still there, which is nice. All right, I like that. Let's see, what else can we do? So we need something for timbre. In Pigments, it just maps it to macro 1. Timbre is like when you move up and down on the key or on the pad on an instrument. You can use it as like an alternative mod wheel that works for each key. So let's just map to FM right now, just like got a couple other things mapped. See what that sounds like. Yeah, we can map it to vibrato also, but you almost don't need it with one of these. You could just vibrato yourself wiggling your finger around, so it's probably not worth it, right? So you can see aftertouch over here. You can see the timbre over here. You can hear how they change things. There's timbre up and down. And there's pressure, aftertouch. And the distortion. Of course, we can do both of them. I always just make the weirdest noises with this thing. I never really like make something that I would record, but I love to just sit and play with it because it's like a trombone. It's really good for doing like ambient things, like slow moving sounds, and you can move your fingers around and apply pressure and all that to just subtly change the sound over time. It's a lot of fun. Maybe I'll do another video on that someday, but I'm just gonna save this one too. And it's just gonna be Pigmanity MPE because it's basically the same patch, but I like to have separate patches for MPE, and not because the way you interact with it is a little bit different, and so you can kind of specialize them for each. So I may or may not use these patches in the future. I don't know, but they're there now. If I want a buzzy lead, I got a quick buzzy lead. I can start adding things to it that are appropriate for the song, or I can just play with it, come up with a melody. These are nice basic patches, so they're ready to be abused with more effects and more modulation and more oscillators and anything else you want to do. But it was really quick to set up. Big fan of Pigments. I bought it recently, but I demoed it for a really long time, so I know how to use it, but I haven't been able to save presets up until recently, so it's nice to start to fill out my user preset library. This actually was originally part of a video where I was comparing a couple of soft synths. I felt like it was kind of based on Pigments, and the other synths kind of suffered because I was just trying to do the same thing with them as Pigments, and they didn't sound as good. And really, um, they have their own strengths, and so it should cater to that. So I decided to pull this out into its own video. But stay tuned if you want a comparison between Phase Plant and Falcon. I've been through the process of trying to decide, and I ended up with both. So hopefully I can help you make a decision on that in the future. All right. Peace out.